as we live and perceive the world that we see around, we take it for granted that it is real and our experiences are also equally real. The whole world looks so solid and to have a physicality, a density to it. But counterintuitively, one finds on very deep investigation that it has no solidity at all, nor has it any reality. Well, this requires a bit of a definition on our part, what we mean by reality. For our day-to-day transactional world, whatever our five sensory organs of perception show us, we take that to be real. The five sensory organs operate in the background and support of the mind. So in effect, mind and the sensory organs we have show us the world that we live and interact with. So the question that comes is, do the sensory organs show us what exactly is there outside to us or external to us? That how much is the understanding or the derivation of the meaning to what is perceived as given by the mind is true? Can the mind itself lie to us? The basic principle that has been understood by the ancient sages and which forms the foundation stone for entire Advaita is expressed in just two lines. Whatever really is there will never disappear. And whatever has no reality can never appear. This comes in Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, verse 16, and the same observation was also made by the Greek philosopher Parmenides around, I think, 5th century BC. So if anything disappears, even for a moment, it cannot be real. That is the foundation definition for reality. So now you open your eyes, look around, you see the things. Just close your eyes and they all disappear. So as per this definition then, whatever is seen, the sights in front of our eyes are not real. Similarly, the sounds you hear, either through the voice now from me, or maybe the sounds playing around you where you are, they are not continue. They are not there forever. They are changing continuously. So they can't be real. Even your sensations of touch, they keep on changing. In fact, if any particular sensation is constantly there, you cannot even recognize it. For example, most of us now don't even realize that we are breathing unless we point it out. That's because whatever is there constantly is taken for granted, and our senses lose the sensitivity to detect them. In order to sense anything, then it has to be keep on in movement, in fluctuation. Another example I can give you right away is the shirt on your back. You have an experience of its presence until it is pointed out to you and you pay your attention towards it? No. So whatever the senses show us cannot be permanent, cannot have a reality to them. How about our thoughts, which are internal to us? Whatever the world we see with our senses, even if it keeps on oscillating or moving, how about our thoughts? Kindly close your eyes, see whatever thought you are having, or stream of thoughts or bunch of thoughts. See if any thought is constantly there, whether you can hold on to any thought. The thoughts continuously move. In fact, that movement of the thought itself gives us a sense of time. Otherwise, as it is in the world, there is no dimension of time at all. If you don't imagine time using your mind as a tool, comparing with what is present with what it was, you don't recognize a change and you don't even perceive a time in the world. So everything keeps changing and everything gets experienced by us only if they keep changing. Now, what is this experience? Again, if you close your eyes for a second, watch your thoughts, or open your eyes and see the scenery around, or you hear these sounds. Where exactly is this experiencing of either the presence of those thoughts, or the sights in front of your eyes, or the sounds through your ears happening? Where is that experience happening? Where is it taking place? Again, if you can close your eyes, watch your thought. Now shift your attention from whatever that thought is, irrespective of its content. Shift your attention to where this thought is occurring, where it is appearing. You may call it the field in which it makes its appearance, or you may call it the space. In fact, it is not space. We will see that in a moment. Where exactly does it make its appearance? What sort of qualities does the background in which the thoughts appear has? What are the qualities of that background in which the thought appears? And now shift your attention to the sounds you are hearing. What is the background in which the sounds appear? And if you keep shifting your attention from the thoughts you had to the sounds you are hearing, do you see that the appearance of thoughts take place at some place and the sounds are heard by you at some other place? Do you find any difference at all in the backgrounds where the sounds are heard or where the thoughts are felt by you internally? So the sounds are believed to be coming from somewhere outside yourself, whereas the thinking is supposed to happen somewhere inside you. But do you see that difference? Can you draw a line distinguishing the two fields where the hearing is taking place and where the thinking is taking place? If you are carefully observing it, you find that there are no two places at all. Now, you hear something from a distance, say some noise on the street or the sounds coming from your computer. You believe there is a difference of distance between these sources of these sounds. One sound coming very near you from the computer, and maybe another sound from somewhere in the distance. But if you carefully look at your own experience, where the sounds are felt by you, you don't have that separation between these two sounds. The separation is introduced because of the sensory organ, the auditory system, your ear and the supporting auditory cortex. They have introduced this sense of distance. Otherwise, if you consider just the sensation of that hearing, the nearby sound or the distant sound, the sensation itself gives you any indication of difference of distance. They all are heard at the same place. And the same place is the one which gives you the feel of your thoughts. Now you feel the pressure of your bottom on your chair. Where does this sensation of touch felt? Even the sensation of touch is felt at that same place. In fact, that place which we are calling as some space is no space at all. We can at the most say it is space-like. Because space, as you see, is visible to the eye, and you can conceive it in terms of a mental formulation. Whereas this space within you, as you feel, where the thoughts are heard, or where the thoughts are felt, and the sounds where they are received, or the sensation of touch where it is felt, they all happen in that space-like, placeless space, if I may say. So if you pay your attention to the background where these sensory signals or thoughts appear, that background does not have any observable, definable qualities. It doesn't have any weight, it doesn't have any color, it doesn't have any quality, it doesn't have any density, it has no dimensions of length, breadth, and it has absolutely no limits at all, no edges, no borders. But it has one quality, that is its capacity to detect or to know things. So whether you are hearing the sounds, whether you are feeling the sense of touch, whether you are feeling the presence of thoughts, basically they are known by you. So the knowing quality is that of the background. And in fact, it is the background which itself modulates into all these forms. It is the background in which all objects, all perceptions, all thoughts appear. It is the background because of which we are able to detect them. And it is the same background which is the substance for all these perceptions and thoughts and sensations that you experience. And that is nothing but what the ancients called as Brahman. So Brahman is not somewhere out, very far away and remotely to us. It is right there and everywhere. So if we use that as a pointer to indicate this background, can I distinguish that background of mine from the background of yours? Just again close your eyes and think it over a bit. If this background, which is basically has this sensitivity to detect things, belongs to you and is present only restricted or confined to your body mind, then each person will have his own territory of this background with his boundaries defined there. So you also must be able to define the boundaries of the background where your ability to know or sense disappears and the boundary of the next person begins. You will not find any such boundaries or limits to your own capacity of knowing things. If that is realized, then we can easily conclude that there is nothing like my Brahman or that background and some others Brahman or background. It has to be all the same one type of background. And because these backgrounds we talked about have no distinguishable qualities, no describable attributes, no parameters, we cannot distinguish at all or put boundaries and make partitions in it. So it has to be an impartite or indivisible single entity, and that is Brahman. That how does this single one entity that is without any attributes to it, without any describable qualities to it, appears in this multiple forms, in varieties of colors, and with so much of variability? In order to understand this, let us take again our own daily experience. We all know we have a mind, and we don't have multiple minds. We have only one mind, right? And it is with this mind we are able to see whatever it is using the eye, hear whatever sounds are there using the ear, and so on. And it has an infinite capacity to imagine things. Suppose you are given a complete freedom to imagine anything you want with your mind. You absolutely have no restrictions at all. Then your fancy can go to any extent. There are no limits to it. And you are utterly free to imagine yourself as the Queen of England or yourself as the whole world, whatever it is, there are no limits to it. But when can it happen? As long as you think, I am Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so, and I have this expertise, I have these responsibilities, I have these qualifications, I have these special powers, whatever it is, unless we confine ourselves, you can be anything in your imagination, right? So to be able to imagine like that whatever you want, you have to temporarily forget these little uh, limitations that you have set on yourself. Or let me tell you in another way. When you go to bed and when you start dreaming, you have forgotten for that time whatever you had been in your awake life. In your dream, you assume certain character. And this character sees, interacts with, argues, fights, loves so many other characters within the dream. Now, what are the sources from which all these different dream characters have arisen? It is basically your mind. Your mind is in fact peacefully sleeping on the bed in your room, but the mind has been able to create so many characters, interact with them, and even place itself as one of the characters within the dream, as the dreamer, as a dreamer you, and even fight, argue with another person or persons, or even imagine to travel by cars or planes or swim in rivers, anything you can imagine. So this is happening when you have forgotten during the dream your actual mind and the nature of your wakeful life. So you have to tentatively forget what you are in order to be able to dream, and this dreaming has no restrictions. You can imagine anything to be yourself in that dream, and you multiply yourself also out of this single dream, out of this single mind. So it is your single mind which has given rise to this multiplicity of characters and dream entities, whether roads, cars, buildings, other persons, friends, hosts, relatives, ladies, gents, everybody is generated, trees, plants, animals. What is not generated in your mind? They're all generated in your single mind, provided you have forgotten what you were in your awake life. And all these characters, if you have noticed, have their appearance within the mind. They are made up of the mind, and they are known by your mind. Likewise, this background earlier we talked of and gave a temporary pointer named Brahman has to tentatively forget itself in order to take form. To take form means in order to manifest. So manifest actually means to take a form. So in order to take a form, this background, which we now call as Brahman, or in English we refer to it as consciousness, this consciousness has to forget itself tentatively in order to rise itself in these multiple forms. And not only that, another condition also has to happen. The infinite, boundless, space-like consciousness cannot by itself become finite. By its own nature, it being infinite, it has to assume a finiteness in its character in order to be able to perceive another finite. Again, coming back to your dream, within your dream, you are the dream character. So the mind which is there in the entire dream, or rather which is there as the entire dream, is able to perceive other characters, other entities, whether living or non-living, from the perspective of the dreamer you. So out of the dream, out of the total mind, you have generated a finite dreamer you, and through the perception of this dreamer you, which is a finite mind, you are able to see the other characters. Similarly, Brahman too generates a little finite entity in order to be able to see other characters or multiple forms. So this finite entity that gets out of Brahman is what is called as the I consciousness. So the first I consciousness which generates has all the total characteristics of Brahman as it is, and it is totally formless. Just like the phase you have before you get into this deep sleep. You are aware of the things, but you don't make sense or meaning, or nor do you give any significance to whatever is perceived. They're all perceived, but still you keep dozing off. So that sort of a character has this I consciousness, which is generated as a little segment. It's not actually a segment, we have to say a little perturbation within this totality of the background. Then this I consciousness, which thinks it is a bit separate from the totality of the background, starts imagining more of these characters and more of the characters and entities, and the process goes on. Original infinite nature of it, in fact, drives this little finite entity that has arisen out of it to again retrace its steps and come back to infiniteness, or dissolve back to be one with that infiniteness. So if any one of us, who we think we are separate characters, and we think we are making some attempt and we are making our efforts to get back to that infinity, in fact, it's not any of our efforts, it's immaterial what we do or we don't do. It is in fact the pull of that original infiniteness which is driving us towards all this. I forget who said it. Lord, you are the love with which we love thee. In fact, even that love, that desire to get back to that infinity, is that infinity's own grace and blessing. So now, if we are clear that it is the background infinity itself in which everything that we perceive, everything that we sense, everything that we think and imagine arises. And if we are clear that because of that only we know the things, and if we can realize and understand that it is that background itself by which all things are made, in analogy with that single mind I have already given. So whatever is there appearing, in fact, pain or struggles, whatever it is, it's all that Brahman only. There's nothing else to be anything different. So all these years we have been accustomed to work and function on behalf of an imaginary separate entity, And with this understanding, we start and work and behave on behalf of this infiniteness. So in other words, this body, which is the appearance within the totality of Brahman, becomes an instrument through which the Brahman itself shines. So whatever other colorations, conditionings, limitations we have acquired and imposed on the body have to be slowly dissolved, eliminated, so that this Brahman can shine through this body in its pristine glory and illumination.